I've got to live from the gifts that God gave me. My life is not for my comfort and my pleasure. It is for service to like humankind, that I'm a vessel that God wants to create through.
All right, Tanner, so you've done real estate for a while now and you're transferring into life coaching and mentoring for high client individuals to build their wealth. What's a good place they can start?
When you're looking to build wealth, you want to start with clarity. You want to get a lay of the land of what resources you have. And I find that many people are too one-dimensionally focused. They just look at money as wealth. They don't look at their experiences, their network, their connections, their access to other forms of money like credit and mortgages and things of that nature. So I think people should start with going through a few coaching sessions where they get clear on what they want, why they want it, and what resources they have to get there. And then once they have that in place, then they can choose a certain paradigm of investing. There's active, there's passive, there's slow, there's fast, there's higher risk, there's lower risk. But you want to start with knowing yourself and knowing your abundance that you have access to.
And now when you talk about kind of having that mindset shift and having that wider perspective on what you really have access to, what's the typical range of how long that might take? Is it like a transformation within a week, or does this really take a few months and maybe even a year to ingrain into your mindset?
I mean, things can happen really fast. It depends on what you're bringing to the table. If you have very little experience in investing and business ownership and don't have much money but have a lot of time, it might take a little bit longer, but you never know what doors are going to open up. To me, I don't really look at how fast it can happen. I look at how fast can we get into momentum, how fast can we get into the right identity that we need to hold. We're shedding these old identities of wage-earning worker, bee person, or college student, or whatever other like titles you have that are kind of not really what you are claiming in your future version of yourself. You want to just make that transition, and as you make that, you're going to find compounding momentum, and as that momentum's happening, you'll experience success, but it won't be like how you thought it was. It's not going to be on the same timeline or in the exact way you had pictured, but you will have new friends and new access and new freedom and new abilities to invest your whole self in a way that you haven't really before. And so I think you just need to make that leap from kind of one side of the river to the other, and then your scoreboard or whatever will go up and down as you're going, but it will generally trend up. For some people, it gets really high score really fast. Other people, it takes a little longer. I'm a firm believer that I would say, like, if you get the right mentors and you're disciplined, it's going to take less than 5 years before you're never going to need to have money like dominate your decisions about why you do things anymore. You'll just be creating from potential and purpose and enthusiasm, passion, and money can be a part of that for sure. But like, you don't need to like give your time to something that doesn't really serve your goals anymore. And for a lot of people, it can be less than 1 year, but I would say 1 to 5 years, probably maximum.
Interesting. Those are a lot of good points. And you talk about shifting from kind of money focus. Well, money is always going to be, you know, a driving factor for why people do things. You mentioned purpose focus. So do the majority of people lack the purpose focus mindset or eyesight?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're born with being excited about what we're going to do when we grow up, and we have these fantastical dreams of, you know, contributing something awesome to the body of mankind's work. Like, I'm going to go have a new discovery. I'm going to create a new invention. I'm going to like imagine a new way the world works. And then what happens is you have to pay your bills. Like,
Yeah.
I think when you're maybe 12 to 16 years old, that bill paying reality isn't really present for most of us, and we get to dream and think, and then once we start like planning out college and we start to see what tuition is going to cost, and we're going to go live on our own, and we're trying to not depend on our parents as much, we make these little sacrifices and compromises to the vision to where I think we just kind of lose track of it, and we say we'll go pick it up later, but then we don't really pick it up because life just keeps speeding up. Now you got to get a job when you graduate, and you got to first you got to get an internship, then you got to get a job, then you got to get a girlfriend, then you got to get married, then you got to support her, then you're going to have a family, then you got to support them. It's just constantly a thing that moves further away from us. And so I think purpose is a choice to live from your heart rather than what all the logic of your head is saying. And it's a superpower. When you start to live from purpose, all that money-making stuff actually does. If you're marketing yourself as, hey, I will get you rich and I will get rich in the process, let's do it. That's okay, but if you talk about let's transform lives together, let's help families that have never been able to access homeownership, and together we'll become wealthy, but we'll also help them. And we're getting wealthy because we're serving other people to access their wealthiest version of themselves. That's a much more compelling marketing pitch. So I do think purpose helps in the profitability too. It gives you a personal brand that people want to say, I'm connected to that guy, I believe in that guy. And then purpose starts to become the main thing you work on, I find. It's not really rejuvenating or exciting or anything to go do the 200th house. It is if it's a family that you know you're impacting their generations. But if you're just checking a box, another house, and there's another deposit in the bank account, I think the impact of that kind of wears off. I think your first 3 deals are still more exciting than your 300th deal. Yeah.
Now, when people work with you and people are learning from you, they're putting a lot of money and their time up front. What do you want them to feel after an experience of coaching with you?
Yeah, I want them to feel clarity. I want them to feel like I've got this. I see it, and the path is open again. I'm no longer living in a fog. I'm no longer in confusion. I'm no longer like got some vague vision. I'm clear on what I'm going after. I'm clear on how I'm getting there, and I'm clear on like my resolve to make it happen. And then that breeds confidence because you start to take aligned action. The action produces a result. The confidence increases, and it's a positive cycle into who you are. I think a lot of people think they can skip the clarity thing and just start doing, but you quickly get paralyzed on your doing because you get back into analysis paralysis stuff. Why am I doing this? What am I doing this for? How do I do this? I think clarity is the starting point.
Now, if a client fully commits and they put everything in, they do what you say, what do you expect them to get after 1 year? Where do you expect their life to have changed and shifted for the better?
Yeah. Right now, our current offering is Owner Finance Freedom. It's a blueprint we've designed that helps people go from wherever they're at in their real estate investing journey to being a bank note holder, just receiving passive income from a family that they have financed. I think within 1 year, the goal would be to, for sure, have done like one cycle all the way through. But I think for most people, it's super possible to do 5 to 7 houses. 5 to 7 families and be making like around $3,000 a month or so, which for most people, I think in their 20s and 30s, like that covers the baseline like bill pay that they have going on. That's where you can start to think, am I okay to like leave my job right now? Am I okay to go part-time? Can I start turning this one on more and more and more? What we've designed is something that in like 5 to 10 hours a week, you can move it along and you're going to get to a place where you have $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year coming in off of your homes without any additional work on them. And every, labor you do from there is for the next home and the next home. So I would say within a year, let's get you to like 5 houses, getting your net worth up to $250,000 in equity and getting maybe $30,000 a year of income coming in off those houses. Then you'd start to have a serious conversation with yourself and your spouse about, should we continue working when we have this vehicle that we can start turning up more and more? You can start getting other people's money involved in your deals. And yeah, like take it more seriously. In year 2, really turn it up to the point where you're at $10,000 a month and you are speaker, leader, trainer, coach, all those kind of things.
Now, talking to you, I can feel that, you genuinely want to help people. So where did you find this purpose within yourself to want to go out and help people achieve their own goals?
When I was 19, I almost died. I was laying on the mountainside at Yosemite National Park. And I just felt like I did not use my life for like what I was designed for. I tumbled 50 feet down the mountain and was just basically frozen there for 4 or 5 hours until the search and rescue crew came up. And then after that, it was 10 hours on the mountain until the helicopter came in the morning. And I've got to live from like the gifts that God gave me. My life is not for like my comfort and my pleasure. It is for service to humankind that I'm a vessel that God wants to create through. And I just made those promises to God that I would live on purpose, that I would live on mission for why He created me. And I just keep making those choices, and I find that it creates joy and satisfaction and fulfillment that's greater than comforts and pleasures and fleeting, selfish ambitions and desires. It's something that I guess you feel a lasting legacy.
Wow. So you almost died. You
Hmm.
almost died, and here you are helping other people. If there was only one thing you wanted your viewer and your audience to take away, what would you want it to be?
I want them to believe that they can do it. It really starts with the belief. Um, why not me? Why can't I do this? Let's believe that that future that we envisioned when we were 12 years old is possible again. That our family doesn't need to go through the next generation in a survival mentality. Why can't I live in abundance? Why can't I choose joy? Why can't I lead my family from calm, centered, grounded um, leadership? Why can't I buy my family like local, organic, healthy food? Why can't I book that ticket to Hawaii to take my son to the game he wants to go to there? Why can't we give to the missionaries our church is sending out? You know you want those things, but you somewhere along the line thought limited thoughts about that. It's time to believe again. This stuff is super real and doable. It's not rocket science. It's easier than high school government class, I think. um, so let's do it.
So what I'm hearing is it's more about, the actual doing. There's obviously you're already a smart person. You have to be a smart person to attack this. But what's a daily habit that helps you achieve success? Maybe it's even a small win each day.
I'm a Christian and I'm a meditator, and I get really rooted in the divine power outside of me that also exists in me. I get out of my own head, which is full of voices, just like everyone else has. I can't do this. I'm not enough. Who do you think you are? All those type of things. I get back in touch with the dreams that God has put in my heart, and I just open my energy to receiving those gifts, and I don't worry about how they're coming to me. I just take the next inspired action, and then the fruits of that start to show up. I tend to enjoy talking about what I'm up to with other people, asking them questions that kind of connect them back to their heart, and through that, offer a little bit of nuggets of wisdom, and everyone's off to the races, living how they want to, living their dream.
Now, when people, start taking on more projects, more clients, more jobs, more work, how do you find it best to balance between your personal life and your work life to where you can have true growth and winnings in both aspects?
That's a great question. Balancing personal life and work life, I think, is not necessarily the right mindset. I think it's more of a harmonizing between them, synthesizing them. I find that when you live these compartmental things in your life, you end up kind of going crazy. I kind of view it all together as one. I have a family business. My brother's my business partner. My wife is our assistant. We operate out of our home. We host events and parties at our spot. And my clients and investors and stuff know my daughter and my wife and stuff. They've come to visit us in Thailand. I like it when they have a nice mixture, but I think what you're asking is how do you not get overweighted on working too much or being with your family and not working? And I think the key to that is just knowing your role in the matter. I think it's important to not have more than 3 to 5 responsibilities in something. I can always tell when I start being overstretched on my roles. My roles are to be the guy with the ideas, with the vision that inspires others and gets the culture right, that encourages critical thinking, develops a strategy together with people. When it comes to implementing stuff, I can get stuff started, but I'm not the guy to go put all the tiny details together. At that point, I need to delegate that micro result, and then it comes back to me and I kind of check the work. But I do a lot of delegation, and I incorporate a lot of other people's voices and opinions and feedback into what we're doing. And then it feels like there's a team that's responsible for the thing that gets created, and that's a way more powerful, long-lasting, sustainable way to do business for me. When there's a lot of people's vision in the vision. Try to keep I'm going to this far away mountaintop, but along the way are peaks, and I make sure that those peaks are other people's mountaintops. And so if I have a big enough vision to kind of capture everyone's within it, then you get a team to go with. I mean, it's kind of crazy to see what happens. I mean, right now I've got a guy pursuing turning this business model into $1 billion exit right now. Just
$1 billion?
yeah,
That's
like
huge.
just last night he talked to a venture capital firm in Silicon Valley. He about this model. Like, we whiteboarded it out this weekend. He understood it. He's already sold a business, so he went back to that client, that network. I guess that checks out. He whipped up an AI website for it. Yeah, I mean, that's happening while also I'm aiming to get like 100 coaching clients in the next 6 months, which would put us, in seven figures of profit category. Also, we have 70 homes going. I'm also aiming to get like big podcast guests on my show. I'm doing a retreat in Thailand for purpose-driven entrepreneurs. I got a buddy that wants to do a $100,000 membership to a men's mastermind thing and give secret cards to people like they're wherever they're at right now. I'm developing a 90-acre living community currently, and I've got a partner that's showing up to that right now. And we're talking with the city about and the neighbors about how to get that going. I'm building a nonprofit right now called Dharma Project KC. I wouldn't be able to do all these things if it was just me. I play the same role in all these teams, and it starts to have a compounding benefit because this is the skills that I've practiced, and I know that the people that can help, and I kind of see like my job is like I'm an artist of people. I piece people together, and then my job is to pull out their gifts and get them to use them with one another. That creates more than 1 + 1 = 2. It's a bigger benefit than that. And people keep trusting that, and it's pretty cool. It's up to me to hold the integrity, to keep the vision alive and present in people. Yeah, to keep the emotion strong about that. And I'm not the sole leader of any of these endeavors. I kind of pair with someone who goes and runs really hard. I find like my race horses to go run the race. My role is to hang out with my pug and on my meditation mat and like watch things get created.
That's really awesome, dude. And you have a lot going on
Yeah.
at the moment. So how do you not get overwhelmed? I know you talked a little bit about kind of meditation and, faith. Do you mind going a little bit more in depth with that and how that kind of helps you stay so calm and cool?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely do get overwhelmed at times. I'm working on that. I'm looking at overwhelm as a simultaneous abundance is like the way I'm reframing it. So I've essentially learned how to collapse timelines, like stuff that would take other people 10 years, I can get it done in like 10 months or something, because I can distill through clarity of mind and through mentors in my life and asking questions and just looking at things fresh instead of how they teach you to look at things. I can see the way to make the thing happen 10 times faster with 10 times more quality at 10 times more certainty or whatever. And so it's inevitably going to have a lot of compression of things happening at the same time. But I guess I take the view that things naturally unfold how they're meant to be. And it's not really up to me to super control that pace. Like, invitations are coming and they're aligned and they're in the vision that I set out to have. I'm saying yes. It's not overwhelming to me that some girl wants to go meet with the city and get a bridge built, get the utilities access and trade land to be conservation land so that we can get this going, and door knock the neighbor that I already door knocked last year and get him to let us do a farm. My buddy to overlay his RV park system that he's already done 3 RV parks on. Suddenly I'm an RV park investor with a local organic farm with a tiny home community that's seller financed. And I didn't have to be an expert in any of that. I just had that vision and talked about it with people, and then the people that know what they're doing came in, and then I made sure that they liked each other, and then we get to work on the thing. And people will just call me or text me with updates, and that's basically, I just clarify the direction we're going to go. When things do get overwhelming or messy or vague or confusing or big decisions need made that are on me, yeah, to me, you got to get into awareness of all the things I'm feeling about them and stuff. I've definitely made bad decisions, but you try to make your best ones by, I think, talking about it with loved ones, journaling out my thoughts and feelings about stuff, really looking at things, asking that harder question. What do I need to know here? What is true about this? What is just my ego in this? And you try to essentially let go and get yourself out of the way and surrender to the path that God has through all of these people that have come into my world. And I find when I can humble myself in the process, it's not overwhelming. I'm just letting the current flow, and I'm just being a part of it. I'm not struggling against it.
So in order to, you talked about accomplishing all these tasks and how you have strong delegation skills. So who are you? Who is Tanner? Why would I want to work with you? Why would anybody want to work with you?
I'm a purposeful, loving, free leader. I view my relationships as like pretty paramount things in my life. I think what we can create can be fun together. I know that you'll go way further than you would on your own, and vice versa. I'm a pioneer, so I tend to go first at things. I tend to take the highest risk. I tend to get the thing started. Sometimes that's just talking about it. Other times that's putting money into something. Other times that's hiring before we're ready, or negotiating a deal that makes the thing start or whatever. I put myself in a position where suddenly I'm accountable for the thing to get to the next step and the next step, and then it needs other people to help it at that point. So in my coaching, for example, I think a reason that you should work with me is I have tried all the business models in single family real estate. And then once I even zoned in on the owner finance business model, I've tried all the models inside of that. I've made all the mistakes. I've lost tons of money on deals. I've also gained tons of money on deals. I also have saved myself from bankruptcy and foreclosures because of this business model. I'm connected to the right people to pull it off at scale. So you're just going to make way less mistakes. There's like so many landmines if you're just going into something by yourself. But if you, me, the 25 people I've taught this, and my team that I've hired, 50 different hires we've had throughout the years, we know how to navigate it. So have more fun with us, have more certainty that you're going to get there. Enjoy coming to the top of the mountain with your friends instead of just by yourself. Let's rise up together.
That's an amazing culture that you're building here. So how can people get in touch with you and sign up for your coaching program?
Yeah, I think the main spot would be, I think, following me on Instagram and sending me a message there. And then we can book if it's the right fit, booking a one-on-one clarity game planning call that's free. Yeah, people will book that and then walk away with like, okay, I know what to do. I'm clear on my next steps, and that's cool. And other people will be like, I'm really serious about this, and I see the value in having a mentor and a coach and a community to do this with. That supplies the paperwork and makes sure I avoid the landmines and holds me accountable to progress and so forth, and they'll sign up. I'm perfectly fine with whatever people choose.
You have a lot of reach in the community here in Kansas City. So what's one memorable family that you've been able to help, achieve that dream of home ownership?
Yeah. There was a woman by the name of Amber that was losing her home to foreclosure. She could not keep up with her mortgage payments, and she actually owed $27,000 to the bank after all the fees and interest and penalties. And we had 21 days or so until the bank was going to take her house. She said that I could have the house if I could come up with that $27,000, and that she would just let her 3% interest mortgage go to me, and she would give me the ownership. And we went and we marketed for this house through one of our agents, and she found a guy named Fernando who owned a restaurant and was making great money. His family was spread across 4 houses in the urban center, high crime areas, really bad school districts. Their kids were not able to play outside safely. Now they own this giant home in a great area. And yeah, they came with a $100,000 down payment, which completely cleared her $27,000 and put a bunch of money on my pocket. And then they were able to be financed by me because I was able to be financed by her. So it's this real community effort here where everyone got what they want. Her credit got fixed and repaired and saved. They got a home. I got $70,000 profit on the front end and several $100s a month of cash flow. And then this family, I went back and visited 3 months later. They finished out the basement. They added things like a decking and a fence thing in the backyard. They had 4 pets with them, I think, including goats. And then they put the a brother and sister's family in the house too. So there was 13 people living in the house. They made all these bunk beds in this finished basement, and they were able to store all their restaurant stuff and get rid of their storage unit as well. And it was just, everyone was just beaming at me with super excited energy about, me being some hero worker for them. And I thought that was really, really neat. And that was my first deal ever on this model. And it just felt, this is the blessed way to invest in real estate. And I had never experienced that level of joy and satisfaction and happiness between all the parties involved. And I've never made that much money on a real estate deal. That deal made us well over $100,000. And I didn't use any of my own money or any of my own credit. I just saw the parts available here and we put the deal together. It was really special.
That's incredible. So a win for everybody across the board.
For sure.
And since you said this was your first big deal like this in this model, I'm guessing, was that just another confirmation point as this is where you are needed and this is your purpose?
Exactly, yeah. I look a lot at these confirmation points of where am I feeling excited with enthusiasm? Where do I feel I'm living aligned to my purpose? Where are the results showing the fruits of the blessing in this? I mean, I try to take inventory every quarter of my life. I do a big life assessment, especially every year. We have a group of us, it's like 25, 30 people every year. Like the week before New Year's, we do like a 6-hour journaling together. I've done it for 7 years straight now. And I start to see like, there's these areas where I can go spend a whole bunch of time and energy and effort and not get results. And there's these other areas that have ease, joy, and flow and really nice results. And you just try to cut the stuff that's not working and double down on the stuff that is. And I think through 6.5 years of entrepreneurship, it just keeps being that more and more. And I'm here as a result of just trusting the right pathways opening and the wrong pathways shutting. I'm not saying this is everyone's destiny by any means, but it's been mine. And I do know that there's more people that need to come into this space. There's way too many people like flipping houses to corporate America or keeping people in rent cycles as a landlord. The landlord's not happy, the renters aren't happy. There's like, it's not the highest possible use of the real estate. And I do think that this is like one of the highest possible uses of real estate. You're just providing this gap that the banks aren't solving for. The banks were designed to, around the industrial age, people that were working in factories and making, sustainable wages and salaries that were super repeatable. It wasn't made for the economy we're in now. It's self-employed, like you can be an Instagram influencer, you can use AI, you can start your own one-person business. The banks are never going to give you a mortgage unless that business has been alive for 5 to 10 years, making consistently profitable money, and you've decided to pay taxes on your profits instead of write it off. I just think that that's a broken plan for people. There's this tidal wave of, I think millennials were the start, and now it's the Gen Z of making money from your own creativity, not showing up to some office to work 9 to 5 for 40 years and then collect a retirement pension or a 401k. I just see, you can just look at like online education, for example, and college is like staying flat or going down, and then online education is like rapidly rising, what people are investing in their own skills and stuff. But the banks aren't responding to that, and we are a response to that. We'll be the bank for the people that have bet on themselves and have created a business and have saved up money for a down payment and can prove that they can make that payment. And it's working really well.